It's been a fucking year.
It has been.
I think we need to tell them about how we had to call the cops on a
Yes.
student, a pottery student.
Yeah. Let's tell them.
The Kiln Garage.
Welcome to the Kiln Garage. We're your hosts, Katie.
And Rebecca.
We are ceramicists and clay educators.
Together, we'll explore the intersections of clay, art, and community.
Each week, we'll unpack stories of creative expression, shared spaces, and the role of clay in building meaningful connections.
We're so happy you're here. We'll call her Olga.
We will not use her real name because, God forbid, she sees this somehow, which she might because she's probably stalking our every move.
She will.
Yeah.
You know how else we'll probably see this?
Who?
The person who's trying to get their $45 back.
The life of a working artist is literally wild. We should have our own. Well, this is as close as we get to our own reality TV show for now,
For now,
because we will have one.
we will have one. Yeah, for sure.
It's that interesting
It
around
is.
here.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Did you hear that with my glasses?
No.
Oh, okay.
So I think first things first, you know, if you're a student or a member here at Hug Ceramics, you've probably heard about the legend of, we're calling this person Olga. And if you know, you know. And if you didn't know the whole story, then guess what? You're about to learn the whole story.
You're in for a real treat.
We're starting season 2 off by spilling the tea on our most difficult, crazy, most nasty person I have ever encountered in my studio career.
In my
And
entire life.
yeah, this person is so nasty. Yeah, in my entire life.
Like, they're up there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever met someone as nasty as them.
Yeah, I agree. And the reason why we're also telling this story, not only because we want to spill the tea and it's juicy, but other studio owners and other business owners and artists, etc., they need to know,
Beware.
beware, trust your instincts, trust your gut, and you need
And
to
protect your community at all costs.
protect your community and your
And your
staff
business.
and your business at all costs, even if it means having to call the police.
Yep. Welcome to season 2 of the Kiln Garage.
So
How do we begin?
I think we have to begin with, we'll go back and forth.
Okay. Should we start with like day 1?
Yes. So day 1, this person, Olga, comes in and she had signed up for an intermediate pottery class. Okay, so she walks in, and this is a very important thing to add into the story, is that when she first walks in, I say, "Hey, welcome." I said, "Are you Olga?" And she says, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, great. Did you sign the waiver that we sent?" And she says, "Yes." So I say, "Great." She comes in. I said, "You're here for the intermediate class." She said, "Yeah." So as she's getting comfy in my class, I say to her, "What's your experience? Like, have you taken a class before?" And she said, "Yes, I've taken 3 classes at 3 different studios." And I said, "Oh, 3 one-time classes or 3 rounds of like multiple weeks of classes?"
Which was a really important question.
very important. But I could already tell that the vibes were off.
Yeah.
And she says, I've taken 3 one-time classes at 3 different studios, which
Mhm.
is a huge
Red
red
flag.
flag.
Yeah.
It's at this point that I say, "Oh, all right, well, I think that you're gonna be better suited in the beginner class just to learn all of the basics," and kind of like as a refresher, I frame it very nicely. And Rebecca's class, beginner class, is running at the same exact time. So I walk her over to Rebecca's class and I say, Rebecca, Olga's gonna sit in on your class.
And I say, "Great.
Yep.
Come on in."
Yep.
So she sits down,
Mhm.
and this person,
Mhm.
I think we can use she, her pronouns.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, she sits down with her pottery bag, and this woman pulls out more tools than I've ever seen in my life. She also proceeds to put these thimbles on each of her fingers, every finger except for her pinky. She goes, and I said, "Wow, Olga, what are those?" And she goes, "Oh, they're going to protect my nails. I picked them up at the beauty store next door." And I said, "Okay." She then had all these like trimming tools, things I've never even seen before, and they're in the splash pan. They're not even like on the table. They're in the splash pan. So I was like, "I don't think you're going to need all that stuff today." And she's like, "Oh, well, I like to have it." I'm like, "Okay." So then we go and we are going around introductions and everything, and she's just interrupting everybody the whole time.
Yep.
We go back and we start cutting our clay.
Mhm.
And I said, "Okay, everybody, we're going to start between a pound and a pound and a half." And she goes, "Well, that's not enough for me." And I said, "Just humor me and do it. And
Yeah.
after this ball, you can take more clay if you want."
Yep.
Well, she didn't listen and
No.
she grabbed like 2.5 pounds just
Yep.
right off the bat.
Yep.
And this is also a small class. I mean, with her, there were 4 people total.
Yeah, very small, very nice
So
for one-on-one attention.
yeah. So, I was making my way around, and this is like most of the other people, they've never done it ever before,
Mhm.
right? So we're really starting with the basics. We're talking about body positioning. We're talking about everything, everything.
Mhm.
How to center, where your hands go, all the things. And but beginner students, it's a lot of information to retain.
Yeah.
So like when you start getting your hands right, you notice your elbows up in the air or like something shifts, right? It's
Right.
hard for beginner students to really get all the things right away, right?
Right.
Fine. As a beginner teacher, or like a teacher for beginner students, right?
Mhm.
Like you're aware of these things and you just kind of learn to go with the flow and like, okay, they're getting that. I'm going to circle back and make sure they get this in a second, right?
Yep.
You're patient. Patience is key.
Right.
Okay. While I'm making my way around, Olga is barking
Mhm.
at my other students and saying, "Her elbow's not down. She's not bracing. Oh, make sure you compress your rim. Hey, you over there, make sure you're locking your elbow in."
Ridiculous.
And I'm just like, "Ah." So I turn around and I'm just like, "Olga, how's your pot going?" And she goes, "I'm having a lot of trouble moving the clay." I'm like,
And you're
"Okay."
like, "Hmm,
I'm like, "I'll be there in a second. Just hang tight."
yep,
You know? So I help her with that.
yeah,
And she's like, "Oh, wow, this is great."
mhm,
And then I walk away and she just proceeded to do what she was doing before.
right,
She had absolutely no intention of learning, period.
mhm,
Um, so that was like the 3-hour class. I mean, it was like that. She was just so concerned about everyone else, not herself, did not want to learn anything. She was there to tell other people what to do.
and your other students made how many pieces?
Oh, yes, very important. My other students who have never thrown before,
Mhm,
or maybe had taken one date night.
Yeah.
They made 4 to 5 pieces each.
Right.
Olga made, well, I'll call it 2, but when we were cleaning up, I had to start talking to her like a 7-year-old
Mhm.
because she was not listening and she was futzing around with her last pot, and I was like, "Olga, it's time to clean up."
Mhm.
And she was like, "I'm almost done, I'm almost done." And meanwhile, like, all the other students are, like, pretty much cleaned up, and we're about to, like, wrap our pieces and, like, class is over,
Yeah.
and she's still, like, fucking around.
Yeah.
Anyway, as she's starting to, like, get it together, because 'cause I'm like, "It's time, we have to stop now."
Yep.
She boops her pot,
Yep.
the last pot, her number 2 pot, right? She, like, boops it, and instead of letting me show her how to fix it, because it could have just been opened up,
Yeah.
she wires it off, holds it in her palm like this, just straight up, and marches back to the reclaim. And I say, "Olga, where are you going with that pile? Your board's over here. We're gonna wrap the pieces." And she goes, "I ruined it. It's scrap."
Yeah.
And she really made it a point to make it a scene.
Yeah. She made a huge scene.
She made a huge scene. Like the entire studio, like Katie's intermediate class,
Mm.
other members in the studio, everyone is watching this happen. The entire 3-hour class.
My
Like,
students my students in my intermediate class are every chance that they get, they're locking eyes with me and mouthing like, "What the fuck is going on?"
right.
Like, they're like, "What is going on over there?" And I'm like, "Bro, I have no idea."
But
And
Rebecca's got it.
but Rebecca's got it. So, then it's time to clean up,
Yep. Mhm.
and
And she goes, "Well, I didn't have to clean up in my other classes."
she's
And
never
I said, "Well, Olga, you all due respect, you haven't taken a course before. You haven't taken like a 6-week class. You've only taken one-off classes. You usually don't have to clean up in those things." And she was like, "Well, I never had to." And I'm like, "Well, here we're going to clean up."
Yeah, yep,
And then we go back to the reclaim. I'm holding her hand. I'm teaching her how to clean up properly. She's over by the reclaim and she's like, bleh, bleh, bleh." She's
bleh.
like, "It's rancid. This smells so bad. This is disgusting." I said, "Well, this is pottery."
This is
This
pottery.
is pottery, bitch.
Also, just so as like a side note, last night or yesterday when I was teaching the afternoon class,
Yeah.
I made it a point. She was in my head, bro. She was in my head.
Oh,
And I made
man.
it a point to say, by the way, I want you all to know that Sunday is the last day of the week before the studio gets a deep clean.
Mm,
So you guys are experiencing the studio at its dirtiest. And I just wanna let you guys know that. And
yeah.
they were, like, confused. They were like, "Okay." And I'm like, "I feel like I have to tell you this because we had Olga who was like, 'Bleh, bleh, it's rancid over here.'" I'm like,
Ugh.
"It's you're in the last class of the week."
It
Uh,
wasn't even that bad
it
that
wasn't
day.
even that bad, you guys.
So, yeah, she proceeds to clean up, whatever. She
Mhm,
wraps her one piece.
mhm.
I'm sorry. You were gonna be an intermediate student. Also, this piece was thick as fuck.
Yep,
Like, it was thick
yep, I
because she
remember.
didn't wanna listen to me, right? Um, yeah, so she wraps her one piece and she storms out. She, like, marches out. She's
Yep,
like, "Bye," and she, like,
yep,
leaves, right?
yep.
Did I miss anything? I think that
No,
was the
I think
first
that was
class. That
good.
was it. But, like, all of the other students in the class, I could tell that they were so uncomfortable. They were like, one of my students, like, you could tell her whole body language was, like, different
Mhm.
when she was throwing
Yeah,
because I was trying to teach her something, and then you have freaking Olga over here like, "Blah, blah, blah, do this, do that, do this."
yeah,
And she was just like you could see that she was trying to, like, take in everyone's
yeah,
coaching,
yeah,
which was really hard.
yeah.
And at one point, I did turn around and say, "Oh, Olga, would you like to teach the class?" And, and when I did that, her response was, "Oh, well, we're all teachers here. We're here to learn from each other." I was like, "Okay."
No,
It's
actually,
like,
that's not
actually,
how
you
that
all signed
works.
up for a class to learn from someone who is a teacher.
Yeah. And so after this person leaves, the other people who were in the studio, which at this point class is over, so most of the students are gone, but like our members are have who have been present during this interaction, this scene, some of them are like, "Yo, what the hell was that?" And we're like, "Bro, I don't know." And then so like Rebecca's telling, like, "I can't believe this happened." And I'm like, "Yeah, I was trying to like be accommodating, like blah blah blah." And we're all like bullshitting around. And then about an hour goes by and
Wait, at the same time, when all that has happened, I
yeah.
am like, you know what? It's fine. We have to show people patience.
Yep.
I'm like really trying to be nice
Yep.
and like show grace and be like, everyone learns differently and maybe she was having a bad day.
Yep.
And then,
The phone rings. And as soon as the phone rang, I knew. I knew it was going to be her.
and the studio goes silent
The studio
because
goes
everyone else knew
everyone
also.
knew. Everyone knew. They were like, "I bet you it's her." Sure enough, I look at the caller ID and I know it's her. So I answer and she says, "Hi, my name's Olga and I just attended the class this morning." And I'm like, "Bro, you're talking like we're some big company. There's like literally only two of us here, but okay."
Well, she asked for the manager
She
too.
asked for the studio manager. And in that moment, I knew that it would have been hilarious if I would have put our studio manager on the phone, which is Rebecca. But I could tell that this woman, she needed to talk to me. She said, "I need to talk to the studio manager or the owner." And I said, "Well, this is Katie." And she was like, "I just need to tell you that I had a horrible experience this morning in class. I think that Rebecca is unknowledgeable and doesn't know what she's doing, doesn't know how to teach. Um, and I think that your studio is lovely and big and beautiful, and I really want this to work out. But Rebecca is just not knowledgeable, and I need somebody who is knowledgeable." And I say, "Okay. Um, well, at this point, I'm like, what do I like do? Like, this is the first time somebody has ever said that because everything that she said is absolutely false. Rebecca is our most knowledgeable teacher. Our most
Thanks.
knowledgeable teacher. She knows exactly what she's doing. She is literally like the picture perfect teacher at our studio is Rebecca. So, and
Thanks,
also,
Katie.
if you know Rebecca, you know she is the nicest person ever, right? So keep that in mind. So I say to this woman, "Okay, well, the business side of me is trying to say, like, okay, how can I make this woman happy?" So I say, "Okay, well, you know, I'm happy to put you back into my intermediate class if that's what you feel like you want to do." And she says, "Yes. Um, I'll see you next week for the intermediate class." And I say, "Okay, fine." And in the moment, I did go back and forth with her a couple times.
It
Like
was a
it was a
long,
longer
yeah.
conversation. I was like,
And she kept
"Well,"
repeating herself
she
too.
was
Like
repeating
she was
herself.
really like honing in on how terrible of a person I am and how
Right.
terrible of an instructor I am.
Yeah. And
Maybe
I
not a person yet. She wasn't really on my case about that.
no, not yet.
It was more of like I'm a terrible teacher, but
And
I'm a great cheerleader.
oh yeah, she said that Rebecca was a great cheerleader, but she doesn't think that she possesses the knowledge to teach her.
Right.
And I knew that was bullshit. But the business side of me was trying to, at this point, be, businesslike and have good customer service. So I was trying to be accommodating. So I was like, "You know what? Okay, you want to sit with me on the intermediate side? That's fine. But You've never cleaned a wheel before, you've never trimmed a pot before, you've never pulled a handle before, and you're
Mhm.
gonna come over to the intermediate side, and if you, like, take away from my intermediate students, like, I can't help you. So, she comes next week to the intermediate class, and from weeks 2 through 4, she attends my intermediate class, and she does not ask me for help. When I try to help her, she doesn't listen. She continues to grab 3 to 4 pounds of clay when I told her that we're working with 1.5 to 2 pounds. Like, free, like, does not listen to my instruction. When I question, like, "What are you doing?" Because there's a lot of moments where she's doing something where I'm like, "What are you doing?" She says, "Well, I'm just gonna try this." And at some point during the 2 to 4 weeks, weeks 2 of through 4 of class, I throw up my hands and
Mhm.
I'm like, "I can't teach this woman. She's
Right.
not listening to me. She doesn't wanna learn. She doesn't take instruction. She can't even grab the right amount of clay."
Mhm.
And when it comes to trimming her pots, she I even ghosted her. I took the tool in her hand and I showed her how to trim, and she said, "Oh, thank you."
Which is something you learn in a beginner class.
Right,
That is not something you should be learning once you're in intermediate
right.
class.
So, yes,
So
I had to
you really
take
bent over backwards for
I
her.
bent over backwards for this woman, teaching her beginner type things in my intermediate class while my intermediate class students watched in horror patiently while I'm teaching her basic pottery because she didn't want to be in Rebecca's class. And so weeks 2 through 4 go by. At some point I kind of throw up my hands and she's just doing whatever the hell she wants, and every once in a while I offer her a moment of teaching, like, "Hey, don't forget to put your thumb over here or do this or whatever," and she's like, "Oh, thank you." During every demo, she talks over me, she makes comments, and she's kissing
Oh.
my
Yeah.
ass.
Like, from across the studio, we hear, "Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Wow."
yeah, she's just
It's really over the
it's
top.
over the top. She's kissing my ass, like, through these classes.
Yes. Also, I found one of her finger puppets in
In
the
the
reclaim.
in the reclaim.
Yeah, and I found it. There was, like, this hot pink finger puppet thimble thing just sticking out of the reclaim bucket. So I popped it out and I marched it over to her and I said, "Olga, I think you lost your finger puppet." And she goes, "Oh, thank you." And I said, "Okay, but it's really important that you're careful about your tools and all of your accessories because those things can't go in the reclaim."
So, it's weeks of going by of these random encounters. Every week, there are members and students who, after she leaves, they're like, "What is this woman's, like, issue or, like, energy? Like, the
Yes.
vibes are
It
off."
was a show, like, people were changing their schedules to get to the studio on Sunday just
Yeah,
to see what was going on.
yeah. There were a few members who were like, "Oh, I gotta be there Sunday morning. Is there room? Because I need to see what happens."
So
And we
crazy.
were like,
Come on
"Sunday
in.
morning, 10 a.m. is the Olga show if you wanna come in and just watch the chaos unfold." And so they did. And then comes around week 5 of class, okay? At our studio, week 5 is a time for finishing up pots, like trimming, attaching any handles or attachments that you have, and sgraffito work. So we like to teach our students like surface decoration. You know, we've been throwing for 4 weeks. Now it's time to learn some surface decoration. Um, so week 5 rolls around and I explain this, and it's in the syllabus, it's in the handbook, it's verbally spoken that in week 5 we're not throwing or making any new wet work because then it won't dry to go into the kiln to be ready for next week. All right.
Mhm.
So class goes by 3 hours. She spends the whole 3 hours trimming because number one, she just learned how to trim. Number two, her pots are like 4 inches thick. Um, and so she's taking a long time trimming. So 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. she's trimming.
But also the trimming, it wasn't even like real trimming.
No.
It was like, I'll just take a little off over here.
Yeah.
And then she spent a lot of time like poking holes in some of the carvings that she did.
Yeah.
Like, even saying 3 hours of trimming is like,
Yeah.
it's like
It's
not even
crazy.
it. Like,
So 1 o'clock rolls around. At this point, you know, especially in my intermediate class, usually the last hour of class, students are like doing their own thing or they're, finishing up projects or they're starting to clean or glazing or whatever the heck. So I at this point am going back and forth into the kiln garage because we have a load to do. So me and Rebecca are going back and forth. We're loading. On my way back to the kiln garage, I see Olga at the clay table, and she's like furiously like doing something. And I say, "Olga, what are you doing?" And she says, "Oh, I see that she has a
a boulder.
boulder, a rock this big, okay? It's like a foot long. She's smearing clay on it.
Yeah. And there's nothing between the
Smearing,
clay and the rock. It's just clay on rock.
literally smearing clay on the rock. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she says, "I'm using this um, rock as a hump mold to create something."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, it's 1 o'clock. Class is over, and also it's week 5. We can't really make anything new because it's not gonna like make it into the kiln." And
Right.
I'm trying to be super nice. I'm
Mhm.
trying to be super helpful and careful with what I say. And she looks at me and she says, "Well, I'm gonna try it anyway." And at that point, I throw up my hands and I say, "Okay." And I go back to the kiln garage and I
Well, we went to the computer.
oh yeah, we go to the
The two
computer.
of us, we went up to the computer and I was like, this is not sitting right with me. Like, if
Mhm.
she's going to stay here, she's going to pay open studio hour fees. Like,
Right.
that's not okay. Like, you're just not going to like hang out here and do things improperly,
Because
not
class
properly.
is over.
Class is over. You're not a member.
Mhm.
Class is over.
Mhm.
It's week 5.
Right.
You're not making anything new. Also, now we turn around and now she's at the slab roller. Or were you back already? I don't know.
No, yeah, she's at the slab
She's at
roller.
the slab roller and this woman's never used a slab roller before. She didn't ask us how to use it, nothing like that. So we see her over there. And at this point, Katie and I are both like, whatever.
Yeah.
If she wants to be here, fine, but we're going to make money off of it.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to get paid. So I go up to her and I say, hey, Olga, listen, class is over. You really can't make anything else. However, we will make an exception. We do have an open studio policy. It's $20 an hour.
Mhm.
There's a sign in clipboard at the front. You can sign in. It's
Right.
1 o'clock on the dot by this point,
Yep.
mind you. Um, but we're gonna need to do that if you want to stay.
Mhm.
And she's like, oh, that's not bad, no problem.
Right.
Okay. When she did sign in, she logged it in as 1:07 p.m., which I thought was really petty,
Yeah.
but whatever.
And
So Olga
signs in
signs in.
on the clipboard.
And does she say anything to you when she's signing in?
She does.
What does she say?
She looks at the clipboard and she says, "I don't see any of the other students who are staying after."
We should mention
Yeah.
that on this particular day, it was the beginner class that she decided to not be a part of. We were also in class 5,
Mhm.
and my students I had invited to extend
Mhm.
their class time to continue their sgraffito design, their surface decoration, and they were already sitting, they were already comfortable, they were already vibing.
Yeah.
So, I had in my mind, everyone at this table is starting at 1, like, don't worry about getting up and signing the clipboard,
Right.
right? But they were all going to.
Right. So
So
they were all gonna take advantage of the $20 an hour open studio time because they were in the middle of their projects. They wanted to keep working on them, but they also respected and recognized that they're over time, so they're gonna pay the open studio fee.
right.
So as Olga, I almost said her real name, as Olga is signing in, she makes a comment to me that none of the other students have signed in. I really hope that they're going to sign in as well. And I said, "Don't worry. They are like we've got it. Don't worry." I
Yeah.
said, "This is your first time doing it, so that's why we wanted to make sure you knew the process."
Right.
And she said, "Ah." So at this point, she's starting. She's starting to get a little bit of an attitude. Um,
Yeah.
like you can tell that I think it's been bottling up and she just can't wait to unleash. So at this point, she signs in. I go back to the kiln garage because we're loading the kiln. Um,
And then I'm out there,
yep.
and I'm on my way back to the Kiln Garage because I see that she's getting her things together and she's getting ready to leave.
Oh, well, you forgot the slab roller.
No, this is what
Oh,
happens.
okay.
So she's gathering her stuff to leave. At this particular time, our POS was down
Hmm.
and she was gonna have to check out, right?
Hmm.
So I was on my way back to get you because I don't know
Yeah.
how to do the credit card on the computer without the POS and all that, right?
Yeah.
And on my way back is when I noticed the slab roller. So I see the slab roller has like this wad of clay just like sandwiched between the rollers. The canvas is not even on there. And for those listening that don't know what a slab roller is, um, it's essentially like a large pasta roller or a large rolling pin, and it flattens out slabs of clay for us. And in order to use it properly, you have to put the clay between, you have to sandwich it between these two canvas tarps,
Yep.
and then you roll that through, and that prevents the clay from sticking to the machine itself.
Yep.
Well, Olga didn't ask for help. She didn't ask for anything. She just did it. And there was clay all over the place.
Yep.
The canvas was, like, not on the machine, it was completely, like, rolled off, and there was clay, like, in the grooves of the metal rollers itself, like, in the teeth. So, I was like, "Hey, Olga, you're gonna have like, there's still clay in here." And she goes, "There's no clay in there." And there's a wad, like, the size of maybe bigger than a baseball,
Yeah.
like, just hanging out. And even the students that were at the table from my class, they saw and they were just like, "There's clay in there." So she walks over to the slab roller and she's like, "Oh, yeah, how did that happen?" And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna need you to clean it up before you head out.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go grab Katie so she can help you check out. I see
Mhm.
that you're gathering your things."
Mhm.
And she's like, "Okay."
So I come out from the kiln garage and I head over to the front desk and Olga's grabbing her stuff and she comes over to sign out and settle up. She only stayed for 1 hour, so she signs out on the clipboard 207 and as she's signing out, she says, "Those other students still didn't sign in, I guess. I really hope that you're charging them as well and not just me." And I said, "Don't worry." At this point, I'm still calm.
Yeah.
I said, "Don't worry. They're just in the middle of working. They're definitely going to sign in and out just like you. Like everybody's getting fair treatment." And she says, "And Rebecca's being a real bitch." And I said, "Excuse me?" And she starts to walk away to go get her bags. 4 bags that she has. So I get up and follow her, and I said, "Excuse me?" I said, "You can't say that. You can't talk like that here." Keep in mind that there are multiple students who heard her say this. They heard her say, "Rebecca's being a real bitch." And I said, "Excuse me, you can't say that, you can't talk like that." And I'm, like, standing up, and I'm no longer, like, in, like, nice Katie mode. I'm in, like, "You just fucking insulted my studio manager, instructor, and best friend? I don't think so." So, I'm in now, like, attack mode, and I said, "You cannot say that. That's very offensive." Well, she takes the word offensive and then uses it in the next phase of what she's saying. She is gathering her things and she's talking to the other students and she says, "I hope you all," and as she says this, she's pointing at them. "I hope you all are paying $20 for your extra studio time just like I am because I'm being singled out here." She's making a scene at this point.
Mhm.
And I'm saying, I follow her to the door and I said, "Olga, nobody is treating you different here. Everybody here is gonna be paying for their open studio time just like you." And at this point, even the students, like Megan
Mhm.
and I think Megan and Kelly, I
Yeah.
think they were like, we're paying."
Yeah.
Like, they chimed in and they were like, "We're paying too." And she's like, "You are more concerned about defending Rebecca than what my feelings. I'm the customer. I'm paying to be here." She's yelling at me, by the way. "You're more concerned with Rebecca. I pay to be here. You should be concerned about me and my feelings. I'm the customer." And I said to her, I don't I don't even remember what I said to her. I was, like, so angry, but I said something to the effect of, like, You can't just come in here and say, like, you just called Rebecca a bitch." Like, and I said to her, "I've been nothing but accommodating towards you."
Yes.
And she was like, "You haven't accommodated me at all. You guys blah, blah, blah." Like, she was just going on and on, and at this point, another student walked in, um who, thank God, was there to see the tail end of this because I felt like a crazy person trying to tell this story to people.
Mhm.
Thank God there were witnesses.
Oh, yeah.
And she's just going on and on about how she's valid, her feelings are valid, and I should be more concerned about her because she's a customer and blah, 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 blah. So, anyway, she leaves. She leaves. And it's at that point that I'm like, there's no way that this woman can be welcomed back. There's still one class left. There's still week 6 left.
Mhm.
But and she as she's leaving, she's like, "See you next week. Thank you." And she
And
leaves.
you're like, "Absolutely not."
Absolutely not.
There's no way.
So
How do you come back from that? How do you just think that you're gonna be able to come to class next week after doing that?
right.
That's wild.
Well, she I it's at that point that I decided enough is enough, and I have to protect my business, myself, my students, my teachers, and my Rebecca. So I send this woman a very professional, thoughtful, well-crafted email.
Oh, we didn't get the file.
Oh, yeah, I'll go get the file. I write an email. By the way, this is our stack of papers. If you're watching the video, this is our stack of papers uh, on the Olga files. This is our Olga file.
It's gotta be like 20 sheets of paper.
It's a lot. I'm not going to read you everything, but I'm going to summarize. Um, so first things first, I write an email and I'm very respectful. And I say, "I felt it was necessary to reach out after what happened after class today. It's apparent, based on our conversation, that unfortunately our services are not what you're looking for in a pottery studio. We have tried our best to accommodate your needs, moving into the intermediate class despite not meeting the typical requirements, which is 2 6-week beginner classes with us.
Mhm.
We allowed you to hand build a piece even though week 5 is too late to make wet work. It's clear that this isn't a productive partnership. I want to reiterate that all students are subjected to the same treatment and expectations as detailed in our student and member handbook. Blah, 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 blah. The way you've spoken about my manager today is reprehensible and unwarranted. Beyond this, you acted inappropriately in front of other students and members by insinuating that they're getting special treatment, which detracts from the inclusive and respectful environment we work so hard to foster. Although I'm not required to disclose other students' business, you should know that all students you accused of not paying their share today did pay and have always paid for extra time, clay, and materials. Um, I also went on to tell her that we did not even charge her for that day because we don't keep credit cards on file. As she was leaving, she was like, "Charge my credit card on file." And I was like, "Bro, it doesn't work like that."
Yeah.
Um anyway, I said, "At this time, we cannot continue to provide services to you. We did not charge you for today's extra time as we do not keep credit cards on file. In addition, I've processed a partial refund for the class you'll be missing next week. Since you will not be attending, here are two options. We can bisque fire, dip glaze, and fire your pieces, or we can bisque fire your pieces and you can glaze them elsewhere. Regardless of which option you choose, we'll notify you when your pieces are ready. You can set up a time to pick them up." Okay? So that was sent on a Sunday after class. Um, Tuesday morning, we receive now, Tuesday was a big day. Tuesday was a big day because I woke up to a 1-star review. We get a 1-star review uh, that says the owner does not have a BFA or MFA and is self taught, as are her staff. This is not unusual. However, they are rigid and unknowledgeable and do not embrace freedom of expression or individual skills levels. Um, the fees are high considering the skill level of instructors. I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's
No.
really stupid. But anyway, at the same time that I receive this 1-star review and I am replying to the 1-star review, a man walks into the studio.
Yes. I almost forgot.
Oh, no, it's the best part.
It is a good part.
A man walks into the studio from the Department of Public Safety from our county,
The hazmat unit.
from the hazmat unit, senior environmental health specialist. This guy, very nice man. Props to him. He was very nice.
Mhm.
He is responding to an anonymous tip that we have, and I quote, tons of silica dust.
Which she had wrote in the review
Yes, she
that
did
we're
write that.
filthy,
We're filthy. We have
which
tons of
is an
silica
absolute
dust.
lie. We are the absolute cleanest studio, I
Like,
think.
I would argue that we are probably the cleanest studio ever. And
Yes.
there are other clean studios
For sure.
out there. Props to you guys. We got to keep it clean.
For sure.
But in the studios that I've been to, we are one of the cleanest.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, we have a full-time studio tech who takes his job very seriously,
Very seriously.
very seriously,
He's very
and
serious.
he's the best.
He is the best.
He's simply the best.
Employee
Um,
of the year.
And we employee of the year for real. And we can't stress enough how important it is for us to make sure that we are safe and our students are safe. So this man comes in, I give him a full on tour of the studio. The studio is looking spotless because we clean frequently. And he basically like laughs this off and is like, "Yeah, I'm sorry about this." And we're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Is there any follow-up?" And he says, "No, you guys look great." So that's that.
Mhm.
Um, so then I respond to the 1-star review, um, that yes, we are self-taught, we're very proud, we are knowledgeable about our profession. And then I corrected some of the false information that she stated. Um, And then I ended it with, "Yes, our studio is lovely, large, and clean, and it is a shame for you because you're not welcome back at our studio."
You said that in the reply?
Yeah, yes, I did because she was like, "It's such a shame because the studio is lovely and large." And I said, "Yeah, it is a shame for you
Yeah.
that you're not welcome back."
Wow. Good job.
At the same time, we received a letter, handwritten front and back in very poor cursive that we could barely read,
With an additional note card.
with an additional addendum. So I'm not going to read that to you, but that was something we received.
It was just about how terrible I am.
Yeah, basically. And then a follow up email on Tuesday that says, "I had already postmarked a letter to you Sunday in which I informed you I would not be returning to your studio and why. I deserve the refund you are sending me. You lied twice. Once when you said the other students were paying, and once when you said they didn't sign the board because they had taken prior classes. You forgot I was in that class on my first day, and I know that was a lie." It's
Okay.
just an idiot. I was friendly and kind and treated you and your staff and students with respect. And to state I wasn't is another lie.
That's a lie.
You literally called Rebecca a bitch
And you literally barked at all of the students
and made a scene.
and made a scene.
Um, she said, as far as she said some other stuff. Oh, my lack of professionalism was unacceptable. Rebecca should never treat customers differently and unfairly. And
I was doing my job.
I have every right to call you both out on it. You are just embarrassed.
I love that part.
I know. As far as my pottery pieces are concerned, please fire and dip them in a green glaze, and I will come next
Next
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Next Wednesday.
Before the class is even over,
Mhm.
the 6 weeks is even over, I want my pottery done.
Exactly.
Hilarious.
Yep.
Um, I continued to engage because I was so furious. I said, um, I basically said, "Excuse me if I misspoke at any point during what was an incredibly unprecedented and hostile conversation." I said, "Thank you for your feedback. I'm truly sorry you did not like our studio or instructors. It was only when you used expletives toward our instructor in front of other students that I had no choice but to uninvite you from the studio." Um, After that email, there's only one more email, and it's when she says, "Katie, I never used expletive. What are you talking about? You are just making stuff up to justify your bad behavior.
Or you have dementia.
You were more worried about defending Rebecca than being fair and treating your customers with respect and kindness. I hope I receive my pottery fully intact and glazed in 2 weeks' time, just like the other students, or I will have no choice but to take action."
Mhm. Take
So
action.
now comes the part that you've all been waiting for, which is
The police.
the police. So this stack of papers, I felt at this point, after this threatening email, although not a physical threat, the threat of "I will have no choice but to take action," although not a physical threat, that is still a threat. So I called the Cherry Hill Police Department. Shout out to my homies at the Cherry Hill Police Department. Um, and an officer came. He was very nice. And he listened to my story. I read him the emails. He let me read them to him. And I told him, "I'm sorry if you think that this is funny or ridiculous." I said, "But I need to protect myself, my business, and my Rebecca."
You didn't see
I basically said that. So I
that,
filed
Rebecca.
a police report, and it was also the officer's suggestion that on the day that she come to pick up her pottery, that we call them with the case number and we get a police escort,
Yep.
which we did.
Mhm. Mhm.
We fired her pieces. We bisque fired them and glazed them and turned it around and glaze fired them so fast
Like in a week.
in a week because I wanted to be done
Mhm.
with this woman and her nasty words
Yeah.
and threats. And who knows who else she called after she called the freaking public health department on us.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
So we fast tracked her pieces, we got them done. I personally glazed them for her, and I chose nice colors, nice greens. Okay?
They looked great.
They actually did look nice for somebody who didn't know what they're
I
doing.
mean, they weighed 3 tons,
Yeah.
but they looked really nice.
Yeah, because I glazed them nice. So on the day that we, agreed upon, she was to come in at 10 a.m., so I called the police. Well, Rebecca called the police officers because I
Yes.
was running late.
Yep. Yeah. So I called the police and I had to reference the police report number.
Yeah,
And then I had to like jump through some hoops with them on the phone, which was frustrating.
yeah,
Like I explained the thing to some guy and then he was just like, hang on a second. And then I had to explain it to another guy.
yeah,
And then they eventually sent 2 people out.
yeah. So they send 2 people out. I show the officers that her pottery is, there's no cracks, there's no broken pieces, everything is fired,
Mhm.
everything's glazed. I show them that as I wrap them up in paper, newspaper.
Well, because your number one thing, well, also
Mhm.
when you had first filed the police report,
Yeah.
you had asked him, the cop, if
Yes.
you could deliver the pieces.
Yes.
And he said, "Don't do that
Mhm.
because she can turn around and say that you were stalking her."
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So, yeah, and I didn't wanna mail them to her because I knew that she's the kind of person who would, like, break them on purpose and claim that we did that.
right.
So, we wanted to show the officers that the pieces were intact and
Tact.
intact, not intact. Um, Also, this woman spelled
Inhale.
inhaling wrong, like, 3 different times in 3 different, like, emails and in her, like,
Handwritten letter.
handwritten letter and on her review and in an email.
How do you spell that word wrong?
She spelled it E-N
How do
instead
you
of
what?
I-N.
How? It's wild to me. Out of all the words to spell wrong.
Yeah, but anyway.
Inhale. Earrings
Erin.
by Erin.
Inhaling. It's not inhaling, it's inhaling. So, anyway, the cops arrive, I show them the pieces. He says, "Alright, we're gonna wait outside till she gets here." I say, "Okay, no worries." I see her pull up. So I get the box, I bring the pieces out. I don't say a fucking word to this woman. She walks up and she's like, "Is this all for me?" And then she goes up to the officer and like tries to like get him on her side. She's like, "This is ridiculous, isn't it?" Like to the officer. I'm like, "Are you a villain in a movie? Like, are you
Mm.
monologuing? Like, what the fuck?" And he's like, "Ma'am, we're just here to ensure like a safe transaction." And she's like, so I hand her her pots. I still haven't said a word. I hand her her pots, and she says, "I'll let you know if they're all okay." And I said, "Well, everything is okay, and the officers did see me pack them up." And she starts to walk away. And as she's walking away, she says, "And don't move because I need to get a picture so I can post this everywhere." And I said, at this point, I look at the officers, they're not saying anything. So
Mhm.
I yelled back to her and I said, "Well, if you continue to harass us, I'm going to have to file a harassment report."
Right.
And she turns around and she goes, "You're harassing me." And she starts to get nasty.
Yeah.
And I look over at the police officer and he goes, "I'm going to go tell her that like she's no longer welcome and she's going to be considered trespassing if she comes back." And so one officer walks over and he's trying to talk to her. And she's like, "Get away from me. I don't have to answer any of your questions. "Get away from me!" As she's, like, putting her pottery in her car, she's
Yep.
yelling.
Then she slammed her door.
As the officer's trying to talk to her, she slammed her car door on
Yep.
him,
Yep.
and she pulls out her phone
Horizontally, like
horizontally.
this. And then she goes close to her car window, and you could see her finger go, like, on
She
the
Yeah,
click.
on the thing. So she takes a picture, and then I look at the other officer and I say, "Now do you know why I needed to call you guys?" And he just, like, shakes his head like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Long story short, they got it all on body cam. They saw the way that she was acting. She was told that if she comes back, it's trespassing. And knock on wood, we have not heard anything since.
It was a good call
Yeah,
to get the police involved. I think we needed to because
we
she wouldn't have stopped.
no, she wouldn't have stopped. And, you know, to bring this all back, to tie this all back to like community,
Mhm.
we already had multiple students who also happen to be lawyers,
Yeah.
attorneys,
Mhm.
already offer to back us up if she did anything further.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
we were ready. We were ready to take action if she continued to slander and harass us.
Mhm. So now you guys know what we've been doing over the summer.
The summer from hell.
It's been a time, but that's the story, and I think I think about, like, what did we learn from this situation? And I really feel like you gotta follow your gut, and also the customer is not always right,
Right,
and I think we did everything right. Like, we really tried our best to be accommodating. We didn't have to do the things that we did.
right.
We didn't have to accommodate her. We could have turned her away from the intermediate class and said, "No."
Yeah. I think looking back on the situation, what did we learn? I think I personally learned as like the owner, the studio owner, the business owner, whatever you want to call it, that first phone call that she made, number one, trust your gut.
Yeah.
Because we knew as soon as she came in that it was going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And I think that first phone call she made, I should have said, sounds like we're not a great fit.
Mhm.
I'm happy to refund you and good luck on your pottery journey.
Yeah.
Um,
But I think you handled it well. I think yeah, looking back, maybe we could have done that. But at
yeah,
the same time, like,
I think we did all we can.
we had to do the things that we did in order to have that realization. Because
Right.
at the time to do that, I don't think we would have. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I was very supportive, like, when you were
Yeah.
just like, "Yeah, she's gonna come to intermediate class." Like, I thought that was a good business move
Yeah.
because I hate refunds.
Yeah.
I don't believe in them
It sucks because
in
people
certain situations.
and we're definitely going to touch on this in another episode, but I think people see the price tag of the class and they automatically think that that price tag is attached to like what they make by the end of the class.
Right, it's attached to something tangible.
Right. When really what you're paying for per class is our instruction, our time, the materials, the space that you're taking up, the space, in the kiln. Like you're paying for the studio's overhead and our instruction.
Right, which is essentially your skill building.
Right,
That's what you're taking a class for. You're taking a class to learn. You're not taking a class to produce a certain amount of pieces.
right. So when people get upset with, like trying out classes, or they pick up their pieces and they don't like what they made and then they give us a 1-star review, it's like,
Which has
bro,
only happened once.
which has only happened once. Bro, did you have fun in your class? Yes. Well, then that's what you paid for the experience and the
Right,
knowledge,
right,
not the little dinky pot that you made. That's
exactly.
a souvenir.
Right.
You're you're fortunate that like you made something and you got to keep something.
Yeah.
Some people don't make
And
anything.
some people don't make anything, and also that we trim your piece.
Mhm.
We take good care of those pieces,
Mhm.
and then we glaze them nicely too.
Yep.
Some
So,
studios don't do any of that.
yeah, and, you know, I think that this summer was a summer of learning. It was supposed to be Katie and Rebecca's summer of 0 fucks.
It was supposed to be that. But you know what? We still got there.
Yeah,
We ended up coming back around to that.
yeah,
I think it's the fall of giving no fucks.
yeah. Fall of 0 fucks.
Yeah. Because it was a real hit to our confidence levels.
Yep,
Like we really struggled for
way longer than I care to admit. That woman was in the back of my head for way longer than I care to admit,
yes, same.
and we are we've learned a lot, and now you all know the story of Olga Olgington.
That's good. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
we were to tell you her real name, you wouldn't even believe it it's her real name.
No. You'd be
It's
like, is that a
that
Clue character?
it's that wild, bro.
It really is. But yeah, that's the story. But I think that's gonna be it for today.
Yep.
And we just wanted to come back with the tea. And
Yeah.
then our next episodes, we'll get back to our regular format. We'll talk about play and community and all the things, but this
But
is very important.
a lesson for you all. Keep your community close, safe, and protect that shit.
Always protect your Rebecca.
Always protect your Rebecca.